So the number one thing I'm gonna say, because posting is great, but you have to be consistent. I know a lot of people, you're an athlete, you're in class, but if you're actually trying to build a brand and monetize off of it, you have to be consistent. You can't post one time, take a break for 2 years, and then get back on and wonder why I'm not growing, I'm not getting opportunities. It's something that you have to schedule into your already busy schedule if you're planning to make money from it. And trust me, I was an athlete in school. I know we got study hall, after study hall, we got lunch, we got practice, I get it. But when I was in school, I still made time to build my brand back in 2012. I'm aging myself, and I ended up turning that into a multi-million-dollar brand after I graduated. So to me, being consistent, making sure that you're not posting randomly. Nothing is random anymore. If you're actually posting to get deals, to get sponsorships, to get clients, if you're an agent or a photographer, you have to make sure that you understand that there is a process with it, which is what I kind of went over in my workshop. Top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Post about your life, post about what it is you're doing behind the scenes, and post about the products, and you're the product. So if you're a photographer, post about your photo shoots. If you're an athlete, post about your games, post about what you've learned as an athlete. Give tips. All those things are attractive to brands that actually want to work with you, but also you're pulling in clients. And those clients can stay with you. You have so many opportunities that you can take now that can set you up for your future later. So the better you are at brand building, the more opportunities, whether that's speaking, camps, building an actual brand that you own. Because at the end of the day, these deals are great. The NIL deals are great, but what you want to do is you want to take that NIL money, invest it in yourself, and build your own so that you can pass that down to your kids. Because you can't pass down NIL deals. So building a brand is honestly your safety net. After the ball stops bouncing, you can't run a football anymore, and then you turn that into wealth.
Being an athlete, that's only one phase of who you are. That second phase, that's when that's going to turn into, okay, this is like what I know my purpose is, and this is what I can pass down potentially to my children and different things like that. I graduated and I was like, man, I'm not ready to be done. So I started playing flag, I played rugby, and I also played women's tackle football. And I had a heck of a career until 3 years ago. I tore my ACL unexpectedly, and it was tough. Like, I fell into depression, and it was just really hard to let go because I've been an athlete since I was like 4. And so the thing that was my saving grace, I started just being a child of God and just understanding that He has a better plan for me, was the fact that I built a brand when I was in school. And so when I was going through my healing phase, like my healing journey as an athlete, I had this big brand that I built, so I was able to still, give back, still be in the sports realm in that way. But I published a book called More Than an Athlete because at that moment I had to realize, like, as dark as this moment is, like, you have so much more to give to the world than just your athletic ability. That doesn't define you. And so I was able to do that, and then I started my sports media company, and I was able to do some really cool things and partner with different brands, which is why I often preach be more than just an athlete. Because like everybody's saying up here is gonna end one day, and you have to have something, that plan B, that you can fall into and still be able to do the things that you love, but you just might not be doing it physically. So I always preach to every athlete, it doesn't matter what age you are, make sure that you are prepared for it to end, so that when it does end, you're not devastated, you don't fall into depression like I had to, or different things like that, but you have something that you can keep moving forward with and still have impact. And that's why whatever your plan B is, it needs to be impact driven, because that's what's going to sustain you for the rest of your life.
Gift going to do for somebody else? What is your gift going to, what fruit is it going to bear for the next generation to pick it and eat it, right? So that's like what I realized, to me, what are you going to do with your gift means, and that's something that I feel like we should teach our children. Like, don't let them, and I'm going to say this really quick, and I'm going to wrap it up. My athletes, parents that, not even athletes, parents that have children who want to be musicians, athletes, whatever they want to be in life, make sure that you're teaching them that that's not who they are. That is a part of who they are. That is a vehicle, but that is not their identity, because if it ever ends, they end. And then we're left with children who are lost. We're left with people who are lost. So teach them to be more than just one thing. Teach them to have purpose. Teach them to have things that are actual valuable, and not just, oh, I can dance, I can sing, I can do TikTok videos, whatever. That's great. But if TikTok is gone, what's next? Who are you? So teach these children who they are, and make sure that you're beating that in their heads and not telling them, go score, go win national championships, go win the dance battleship, whatever it is. But teach them, like, what are you gonna do when this is said and done?
Or a lot of hardship. So make sure that you're focused on those grades. Make sure that you're focused on athletes going to those practices. Make sure that you're putting in all of the work that you need to put in, and not have doing things that you know that you should be doing, because that will deter you from your ultimate goal. Whether that's to go to the NFL, whether that's to be an anchor, whether that's to be a doctor, whatever it may be, the choice has to happen now. So I just want you all to know that you guys have so much opportunity. I have to say this again. You got AI, you got ChatGPT. So it's like you got so many opportunities to be great. And we are examples of what could definitely happen when you keep your head straight, you stay on the straight and narrow path. It is not easy, but trust me, the sacrifice you make now, oh my God, what you're gonna get in return is gonna be so much greater. So I just have to throw that out there because, again, I see a lot of faces of athletes and students. And I just remember sitting here in a room very similar to this. There was someone talking on stage, very similar to what I'm saying. And I took it to heart because I was like, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to be an Olympian. And that was my why. So whatever your why is, stick to that. That is going to be your North Star of your life. I promise you.
Cindy, why don't you give us some parting thoughts, and then we've got...
Why is, that's what's going to keep you going. And I know for me, I had some very tough moments at this school, at this university. And at any moment, those really hard, pivotal obstacles could have changed the entire course of my life. And I'll just give you an example. I lost my best friend here to cancer. He was literally my twin flame. We were literally both Scorpios. So that says a lot, right? We were fighting like brother and sisters, but we both wanted to go to the Olympics. And I remember the summer before I graduated, I found out that he had cancer. And it came out of nowhere. They missed it, right? They said he had a cold, and it ended up being cancer. And I remember I told my mom, I said, I really don't want to finish. I don't want to come back. And she said, what would Randy have wanted you to do? And he said, and I remember him saying, no matter what, finish. Finish the race. You're going to go to the Olympics one day. And I remember that is what kept me going. That's what kept me coming back. That's what kept me, when I had those hard days where it's like, man, I can't concentrate because, I just found out my best friend passed. I kept saying, but he would want me to finish. And that was my why. That was a big part of my why for graduating. That was a big part of my why for continuing sports after college. And to this day, guys, I'm 31, like immediately, like it's real. So it's so important to have a clear head about what it is you want to do, who you want to be. College is this is where it starts. This is where you actually become an adult. So you got to make adult decisions. And sometimes decisions that you make now can affect your future. So don't do anything that you wouldn't want your future children to do, your little brother or sister, because that's going to come back and haunt you. So this is the time to really set yourself up for success. So make sure you're going to class. I know class can be what it is. It can be boring. You want to go party, I get it. But save that stuff for later, because if you don't take care of your schoolwork now, y'all, it's going to be a lot harder to do the things and have the discipline that you're going to need to be successful in your job, your athletic career, whatever it is you want to be, influencer, whatever it may be, gamer. Like, you have to build your foundation here. So that's what I'll say. I don't want to speak for a very long time, but I appreciate you guys for showing up. Continue chasing your dreams. I don't know what everybody in here wants to be, but just know that it's possible. I am a woman that has made history in 2 male-dominated sectors, right? In the sports world and also in the shoe industry. That's unheard of. So if I can do that, and I started here, oh, y'all can do so much more. Y'all got tech, y'all got AI. So y'all got a lot more than what I have. So y'all better be better than me. So I just want to, tell you guys that anything is possible. That's a good question. The main thing that I would say is peace.
I think we try to create something beautiful in a chaotic environment all the time, and it's like trying to plant a seed in dirty soil, just not gonna work. So I think when you have a peaceful environment, but also the people around you are peaceful, and they have peace within themselves, if they're not seeking something that you may have because they don't have it within themselves, then to me that creates any and everything that you want. And also you have to have people in your environment that also have the same vision as you. Because sometimes we meet people and they might be awesome and they might be these great people, but they're looking over here, you're looking over here. How are we gonna come together? That don't even make sense. So I think to me, it all has to be peace-led instead of just chasing like, the money and the success. It's like, what am I doing that makes me feel peaceful? How can I take this and also give it back to everybody and allow them to create peace from this? So to me, that's a big, I'm telling y'all, that is a biggest thing that I learned is if it's not giving you peace, even with relationships, if it's not that, then it's not for you, because God is not anything else but that. So if he's not in that, why are you there? You know what I'm saying?
I have a two-part question. So I'm so happy that you...
Or a lot of hardship. So make sure that you're focused on those grades. Make sure that you're focused on athletes going to those practices. Make sure that you're putting in all of the work that you need to put in, and not have doing things that you know that you should be doing, because that will deter you from your ultimate goal. Whether that's to go to the NFL, whether that's to be an anchor, whether that's to be a doctor, whatever it may be, the choice has to happen now. So I just want you all to know that you guys have so much opportunity. I have to say this again. You got AI, you got ChatGPT. So it's like you got so many opportunities to be great. And we are examples of what could definitely happen when you keep your head straight, you stay on the straight and narrow path. It is not easy. But trust me, the sacrifice you make now, oh my God, what you're gonna get in return is gonna be so much greater. So I just have to throw that out there because, again, I see a lot of faces of athletes and students. And I just remember sitting here in a room very similar to this. There was someone talking on stage, very similar to what I'm saying. And I took it to heart because I was like, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to be an Olympian. And that was my why. So whatever your why is, stick to that. That is going to be your North Star of your life. I promise you.
Cindy, why don't you give us some parting thoughts, and then we've got...
In the dark room, I said, God, I need you because I can't see where I'm going. Yeah. And I said, I have to give it all to you. I have to let go. I have to break this identity that I thought I was completely this one thing, and now it's gone. So I'm gonna give this to you, and you give me back who I really am. Yeah. I remember waking up the next day, and I felt like so much weight was lifted off of me. And within those moments that led up to where I am today, I found my husband. He found me. What I truly believe I am, which is more than an athlete. Yeah. We were able to get my shoes into Champs and Athlete's Foot. I found my real purpose in sports. That's just not me going out there and running with a football. I now talk to athletes about how to overcome injuries, how to overcome depression. Because I'm not the only one. There's so many athletes, which I'm sure we've all heard about, athletes committing suicide, athletes that they don't have no plan B after sports. So they fall into this depression that they can't get out of. And so now I go and teach these young kids at a young age, be more than just this. You are not just a basketball. So they fall into this depression that they can't get out of. And so now I go and teach these young kids at a young age, be more than just this. You are not just a basketball player. You are not just a track runner. What do you want to be after this? That's what I want you to, just as much as you put into going to the gym and shoot no shots and whatever else it may be, do that with your plan B. Whether you want to be a doctor, whether you want to be a fashion designer, hairstylist, and I have to say this, parents, It is your duty to your children to also tell them and show them like you are more than just this. So while I'm taking you to practice, I'm also gonna make sure I sign you up for classes to be this actress that you want to be. So that this is not all. And so, and coaches as well, because coaches, all I heard all my life was run faster, jump higher, go, go, go. You got this going on? Oh, no, this comes before that. And so in my mind, this is like, this is all I am. I can only do this. So that's the work. It's not just about what I'm doing, because I can talk to you about my schedule. You know, I go wake up at this time, I eat this, I don't eat this. I can tell you about my schedule as an athlete, but it's different for everybody, and that's cool, and it's tough. It's not something that everybody wants to do or can do, but what means more to me is like, what am I doing to give these kids a better quality of life after sports? Because most of them are beaten up, most of them got because it was a boundary. So one thing that I will say, this is an easy way for you to know. If you set boundaries and people start acting funny, start changing, start saying, oh, you think you, that's what, when you have all of that and you're trying to set healthy, respectful boundaries, that's not your person.
That's right.
Because your true friends and the people that's meant to be in your life, they be like, you know what? I actually respect that. Like, I know this is what you have going on, and I'm over here doing all of this, so I don't want to put you in that situation. You don't have people that's saying, I don't want to put you in this situation because of this. First of all, that's still probably not somebody you should be around, but at least they might just get the distance instead of just a clean cut. So I would say, if you setting boundaries that's for you, and for your mental health and your well-being and your destiny, if that bothers people, if that irritates something within them, that's not your people.
That's good.
So,
Thank you.
That's good.
Had a mentor, but if you did have a mentor, tell us about them.
I would say my mom was my mentor. I mean, she was an entrepreneur herself, and so was my stepfather at that time. But they weren't athletes, so it was still a different world. And so when I was really getting started with like building my brand, we all have that fear of like, man, I got this. I think my baby's cute, but does everybody else think my baby's cute? Because if y'all don't, then that's a problem, right? So like that's what we all kind of go through when it comes to building brands. But the crazy thing about like, I feel like God and life, if you don't take that jump, how can God ever do his part, right? How can God ever give you and open up that door that he's waiting for you to open, right? So for me, I was afraid because I was like, man, my friends are getting jobs, my friends are, they're becoming coaches, they're becoming all these other things, and I'm over here trying to be this entrepreneur, and I'm struggling. Like, I was on a struggle bus for, I started my brand in 2014. I probably didn't start making money until like 2017. So I was like paycheck to paycheck. I was selling fitness programs, and I was struggling in the beginning, and I was trying to figure it out like pretty much everybody else when you graduate. But I had to take that leap because I believed in it. It didn't matter who else didn't believe in me, because if I had that dream and I believed in it and I actually focused on that dream, then I knew it was going to become what it is today. And by the way, when I made this choice to follow the social media thing, imagine a backlash from your family. Like, what are you doing? What is even social media? Why would you?
I've had ankle injuries, but an ACL is like the big dog injury of them all. So I think when I got this injury last year, I was like, okay, this is a real possibility that I might not be able to come back. So what's next for me? And what I would say what saved me mentally was the fact that I had been building a brand since I was in college. And I had already kind of established myself on social media. I had a really respectable, reputable brand. So I was already working with like the Nikes and the Adidas and things like that. So for me, I had to kind of switch my focus and say, okay, while I'm rehabbing, I need to make sure that I'm focusing also on continuing to nurture my brand, speak more about what it is I'm doing outside of sports, and realize that, yes, I'm an athlete. That is, that's the core of who I am, but I'm also more than an athlete. And I think having that safety net to kind of fall back on is what keeps athletes sane during those times. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say it's easy. I mean, I miss the field, obviously, but also I understand that sometimes our career doesn't end on our terms, and you have to make sure that you're prepared for that. And again, having that plan B is what keeps you kind of keep going.
To put up that boundary?
The first time was in 2020 when I made history, becoming the highest paid female football player.
Hold on, we go.
what are we really talking about? So for me, I was like, when I got presented with the opportunity to have my own shoe company, I was scared at first. Because I was like, I gotta compete against Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and I'm just this little fish in a big pond. But I remember speaking and hearing God clearly. He was like, but what if it actually goes well? What are you gonna be doing for your culture, for your people? We no longer have to be the cattle. You know, we have to go out there, blood, sweat, and tears. The owners get all this money, especially we all know about, college athletes, but we now have NIL, which is cool. But where is the real ownership? Because at the end of the day, that's going to end one day. When that contract is over, it's over. So what can I do for my people, my children, that I don't yet have, that's actually going to make an impact? And that's when my shoe company came into existence, and it was not easy. But I knew that I had to be the first one to do this, to open up the door for the next generation of female athletes and boys. Because there's also not ownership or there's a few. Actually, no, there's not any ownership where you actually own the entire company. So I wanted to be the first. And it's been a journey, but I know that there's so many children that have come to me and say, I didn't know I could do this. God has something bigger and better planned for you. But y'all, I could not see it. I remember just like being in my room, just pacing back and forth like, what is this, God? You have to be playing with me. I remember like strapping on my shoes and I was like, Mom, I gotta go to practice. She was like, Santia, you cannot go anywhere. You have to chill out. I was not able to accept that I was physically injured for probably like, I would say probably 3 or 4 weeks. And then once it finally hit me, that's when I kind of went into this depression. But I remember when I was in that depression, when God really sat me down, I remember him telling me, remember all those times when I was nudging at you to take care of your body, to take care of your mind, to take care of your whole being, not just the physical. And just to kind of give you guys a breakdown, I'm very much like, I'm gonna play no matter what. I had got injured when I was training for the Olympics for rugby, and my doctor was like, if you don't sit down, you're not gonna be able to do anything. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll sit down. Guys, the next day, I hopped on the airplane to New Zealand to go and train so that I could hopefully make the USA team. When I got back, I was so burnt out that I couldn't even walk without feeling like I was jogging. And I remember feeling like, okay, this is it. I don't think I'm going to be able to be an athlete anymore. But God kept giving me chance after chance after chance. So once this happened, I really had to sit down. And inside that depression, I realized that I have to be more than just